Welcome back, kids and coaches. And today we are getting into your assignments here for Unit 8. So you have reached week number last here for the class. So you have three things that are due here. First one we have here is your discussion question. So this one's pretty straightforward. This is just saying, tell me about an area in sports management that has particularly been of interest to you, and then tell me how the knowledge you've gained during this class can help to benefit you in your future career. So really just 2 points you have to hit there, and really these are more or less opinion questions here for this one. So you're just kind of stating what your own personal opinion is. Don't really need any citations for any of this, but just make sure that you put something thoughtful into it. Another big thing, again, still have to remind you, you have to make sure that you have a substantial follow-up to one of your classmates. This means that you have to be able to tell what, or really answer the question why you either like, agree with, disagree with, whatever of your classmates' posts. Don't just restate what they're saying and say you like it. Don't just say you agree with it. You need to tell me why. So that is your discussion question. Your final exam is going to be similar to the other exams you've had, 100 points. So you have that there, and you have 2 hours to do it. Make sure that you give yourself plenty of time. So make sure that you block off at least 2 hours for yourself to be able to do this. If you start taking it and you stop or you close out of it, you don't get a redo on this. This is a one-time deal. So you only get one shot at this. Please make the most of that. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that this is due on Sunday the 10th, meaning that on the 11th, as soon as midnight hits, and this is midnight Central Time, so it's 10 p.m. Arizona time, the test will lock. So if you start this at, say, 9 p.m. on Sunday the 10th, you'll only get 1 hour to do this. So you have to be finished by 10 o'clock Arizona time on May 10th. So big bold letters. So just make sure you remember that. And then last here is your research paper. So I've given everyone all of your feedback for the rough drafts. And we did have some pretty good ones. There definitely are some that do need quite a bit of revisions here. The big thing that you want to make sure you're covering is doing these 4 sections. It's the one thing I'm seeing many of you miss out on, are doing these sections here. So if you're writing about, say, like the history of a sport, or if you're just writing about, like, say, violence in sports, diversity in sports, something like that, you have to write it so that it answers these 4 questions, or it answers these 4 really points here. So what is, say, the history of baseball or softball relative to the management and leadership aspects of it, the legal issues that have affected it, what is the marketing of it, and the ethical considerations. It would do you really well if you were to structure this by having section headers. So your very first section header is your title. So your title of your paper is bold-faced, centered, and it starts the paper. You don't need to write an introduction or like write the word introduction. The initial section you do, which can be your background if you want, it can be an introduction section, but it goes just under the title of your paper. Then you want to have your next section header be your management, and leadership aspects. And again, this is going to be bold-faced, left aligned, and then you will write your paragraph here or your section. Your next section are your legal issues. Then we have marketing. And then your ethical considerations. And that's how you should structure the content of your paper. Now, for your title page, you want your title page to look like this. So the header, you'll double click on the header, go to page number, top of the page, and you want to go to plain number 3. And that's it. Then you want to have the title of your paper in the upper half. You're going to hit enter 4 times. And then, so the title's in boldface, everything else is not. You're going to have your name, Park University, Gilbert, or actually if you're from a branch or from Parkville, let's just keep it to Park University as a whole. The class, so FW-275, sports management, my name, and then your due date, which is May 10th, 2020. That is your title page. The title of your paper will start the content, and then your reference list. For your references, you're going to center the word references, and you're going to boldface it. Then you're going to type out your references. You're going to do author, last name, comma, first initial, period. If you have anyone else, you'll separate it with a comma, write their name, same thing, and then you end with an ampersand, so before the last person. Date goes in parentheses. So your journal title is going to be all uppercase and italicized. You're going to have the journal volume italicized, and then you're going to have the journal issue in a parenthesis with no italics, followed by a comma, and then your page numbers. And then you'll have your DOI, which is, or your wherever you retrieved this, and you just want to make sure you keep this in its hyperlink form. What you'll then do is you will select all, go to paragraph. You want to make sure the left and right indent is 0, the spacing before and after are both 0 points, the line spacing is double, and then your special, you click on hanging. So you have a hanging indent. So this is what your references should look like. Again, appropriate references should have a DOI number. The way you find those are you go to the class page, library and tutoring. It will take you straight to the library page where you will search for whatever article you're looking for. And what you should click is you should first click on full text. You should change the publication date to 2010 to 2020. And then your source types, you should click on academic journals. And that will give you everything here. If we just look at this first one, this will give you the DOI. So that tells you this is going to be an academic source. It gives you the title. Now remember, if you're using the title, do not just copy and paste this, because when you put this into your reference list, the title does not have uppercase. You're only going to put uppercase for the first word after a colon, or any proper nouns. So this, if we wrote this out in our reference section, it should look like this. So make sure the title of the article is lowercase. The title of the journal, so this journal here is Biomed Research International. This does keep all of the uppercase. And you'll italicize this. And then you have the page numbers here. So this doesn't have a listed edition or issue. I would click on the PDF full text. Because many times it'll give you more information with that. And you'll either see it in like a header or at the top of the page. In this case, it tells you volume 2020. So what I would do is I would just put 2020 there, comma, and then go straight to my page numbers, which are 1 to 8 with a period, and then my DOI I'll include right here. And you want to make sure it's a blue hyperlink. So you want to make sure it's a live link. Now, granted, I didn't write the author's names in there because these are kind of long names. But again, I would put last name, comma, first initial, period, comma, last name, comma, first initial, period, comma, last name, comma, first initial, period, comma, then an ampersand. So again, this is an ampersand. In the references, you never use the word and, you use the ampersand, followed by my last author's last name, comma, first initial, period, and then in parenthesis, I will put the date. So the date there is 2020, period, and then we go right into it. So there is your overview of that. Again, I will caution you, please be careful with the references you are using. Many people have been using references that are not appropriate. You don't want to be using blog pages, or you don't want to be using, like, say, opinion pages. You want to be using things that represent factual information. So you want to be using either books or academic articles that have a DOI number. If you have any questions on if your citation isn't correct or if it's an appropriate citation, please let me know and I will gladly help you there. I can't help you if you don't ask. And if you wait and just turn something in at the last minute, there's nothing I can do if you did it incorrectly. But that is your overview here of your last 3 assignments. And it has been an absolute pleasure having you all in class. And I will see you all hopefully again here soon.